Magenta is now we're in color. We're seeing color. We're not a pseudo color. The fuzzy place where history begins, because we still don't have all of this in our archaeological record, but these are those civilizations of the Neolithic, Indus River Valley, Fertile Crescent, China, and any place where society is beginning. So what happens is, for whatever reason, maybe conditions improve and people are better able to group together and stay put. But the main thing that happens is they start planting crops instead of gathering and hunting. They bring the product to society. So they plant crops, they manage the crops, they shepherd animals, they manage the populations, and this allows them to stay in one place. This results in the emergence of culture and diversification of language, diversification of labor. We do have beliefs now. It's hard to conceptualize the fully magenta beliefs from where you're at right now. It's very strange to us. But just understand you have cognitively been through this and you've seen it a lot. So it's not alien, right? It's just to put yourself in that position is a long way to move. You have a language, and your language is really powerful because it's this tool that has helped you to civilize the world to a certain extent and allowed you prosperity and a sense of belonging to a community. The words of that language are not simply words that mean something. This philosophy hasn't been unpacked yet. The words have a spiritual power. If I carve a little figure and I call it that word, now this thing has the power of that word, which has the power of that God, which has the power of the figure I carved, so there's these sort of fused or undifferentiated soupy beliefs, like I'm standing on this world, so this world is a god. Whatever name I call the world is itself a magical entity, and any operations I perform on any of these things will affect everything else. Magical animism, we all know in our world, which is usually a hobby for people, but replacing an item or word with an actual thing would be considered magical animism. So like if I say a powerful word and that will cause you physical pain, that would be my belief in magical animism, that's possible. The mechanism by which that works is that the word is powerful, so by saying the word at you, I'm using my power. But how does that work? It's magic. There is no explanation. This is how magic works. Things are associated with other things. And sometimes the association doesn't even make any sense. Like if you step on a crack, it'll break your mother's back. That just rhymes. There's no logic. There's not even a spiritual, magical logic to that. It just happens to rhyme in this language that we're speaking. And so it was catchy. And so then ultimately I'm worried about stepping on cracks. That's magical animism. So that's sort of the philosophical belief, but then if you put that into a group of people and reinforced in that group, it's sort of a society of hysterical people almost. They're all terrified of a flood or a hurricane, or because they now have a big enough society that they can talk about these things. They hear stories and they know all the dangers that are out there. These are forces beyond their control. I don't think gods is a good word to describe them. It's more like spirits, because spirits are much more unknown and uncharacterized and sort of ethereal and misty, and that's definitely what we're dealing with in Magenta. There's a division of power with generally the ruling elite are religious people. It kind of makes a logical sense that the world, it gives to you things, so it probably demands that you give it things too. So what can you give it? Valuable things, which is your life, your health, your happiness, your goats, your jewelry. And so we sacrifice to the spirits as like a good luck or a way of providing a connection between ourselves and being spiritually empowered by our environment. Obviously that can be taken to very hysterical levels to where you're senselessly murdering people for no reason, which is the issue that will become even more profound as Magenta slowly transitions through into red. Especially from today's perspective, there's a lot of overlap there, so I want to keep Magenta really self-contained. The spirits of Magenta are so wide and far-reaching and different and so based upon the local tradition that it's kind of hard to characterize them, but the things that you can say is that they're definitely fusions. They're combinations of things that people encounter in nature. Giant versions of things, tiny versions of things, general wills given bodies, given forms, and vice versa. A wild river would have a wild spirit, etc.